So for folks that are kind of like, where do I start? Where do I reach out? What do I even get prepared? What's your advice? Because you said start
Yeah.
talking to people, so maybe I can talk to bankers,
Yep.
but how do I get started to start talking to these
Yeah,
people?
I mean, it starts to me with gap financials. I mean, you may, as an owner, traditionally starting a business, you may be more on a cash basis or tax basis, and understandably, when you first start out, that's, cash flow and tax returns is really all you care about. But I think, preparing, even if it's some summary information, it doesn't have to be, again, if you're just going out to talk, you don't have to go out and get an audit or go out and get a quality of earnings or anything like that at that initial point. I think it's, if you have some accountant on staff, or if you have to hire somebody to just put some financials together, last 3 years, revenue growth, try and get some, definition of, kind of gross margin, overheads, and kind of give you an EBITDA number, just so you have a place to start with. Because I think every, banker, PE firm is just going to want to know some of those things. I don't think you have to go crazy, but preparing that. Two, I think another reason is to maybe, bringing in a member or two of your team after a certain point, because you got to take the emotion out of it.
Hmm.
Obviously, in many cases, you started this business, maybe it's been 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever. Of course, it's who you are. It's your lifeblood. Obviously, you have your family, but this is your work lifeblood, and you kind of have to put emotions aside and realize, I may be a good looking MSP, but we all have holes, and we got to work to fill those holes. And really putting that aside, don't get overly emotional. Certainly early on in those discussions, and certainly look at listen, I guess, and meet with these individuals, bankers, PE firms, other MSPs. I mean, I've been fortunate to speak with a dozen CEOs or former CEOs of MSPs, because I don't have all the answers. They have grown businesses, they've been running businesses longer, and just getting feedback from them. It's a pretty great community, as far as there's different vendors that we all use that bring us together, and we're pretty regionalized, so have no issues with talking with somebody in different regions, to get their feedback, and kind of where they're at, and just listening to different sorts of people and getting an opinion from them about how they took the path down. So it can be overwhelming. I think that's why starting early and just having some conversations when you're even a couple years away, kind of sets the stage for you to be able to, go along that path and not feel like you ever get to a point where I have to sell by next month for whatever, I'm retiring, or I have an ailment or something changed in my family. You never want to get to that point.